Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to fit into university with the grades that you're showing up here. Yeah, I think maybe you could just go and get any job after this. Always know that if you educate a woman, you educate a village. I think everyone in the world has a purpose.
Absolutely.
You do. You have something that either comes out and goes back again, something new, but there is something that you know that you feel that you should do. If you look at the history of the British, most of them do works that, prioritize their future and future generations. Responsibility, right? No one really tells you that you need to do it, or, no one really forces you to do it, but you know that you have to do it. Like when my parents get older, right? Would I be able to give them a good, or try as much as possible to give them the life that they've given me? We can say, my kid, I remember starting that in the garage somewhere, and now my kid is leading.
Hello guys, welcome to another installment of Let Inspiration Take Over podcast. I am your host, as always, Isaac Speaks, bringing you another potentially amazing episode. And I mean, to tell you guys, the way we've come here, me and Zena, of course, is inspiration has literally taken over. Zena is a good friend of mine that I've known for quite a while. She comes from Sheffield. I'm from Sheffield myself. I grew up in Sheffield. So as you may know, I've been working frantically to put the podcast together, speaking to different guests and things like that. And I reached out to Zena on pretty short notice, just asking her, if she could come through on the podcast for me to record with her, because I know she does amazing work. She does social media content as well, interviews people and that sort of thing. And it just happened that by the by, she wasn't too far working on that sort of thing. And she graced me. By God's grace, she actually accommodated me. I'm like, you know what? Thank you so much. But this spot is the LiT Studios. Anything can happen, but I must say I'm really looking forward to this conversation and just digging deep into yourself, Zena, who you are, everything, all the amazing work that you're doing. I think it pretty much speaks for itself, but it'll be really interesting just to hear it from yourself. But before we jump into the meat of things, Zena, welcome to the LiT Studios and welcome to the LiT Podcast.
Thank you you very much, Mukosa. Thank you for inviting me. It's
absolutely I was going to ask you, what are your first impressions? I've been speaking to you, obviously telling you a little bit about everything that I'm doing, putting the studio together, sometimes even getting some insights from you, just asking you about the social media world, because I know you've got a little bit of knowledge and that sort of thing. But actually being here, what are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness, amazing, phenomenal. So I've seen it before. I've seen a few videos post
Facebook.
Yes. So when actually arriving here, I think the first thing I said was wow.
Yeah, you did.
Because being live here means something different. It's just
absolutely
the environment makes you feel it's very inspirational and motivational. So
brilliant.
It's a pleasure. It's really good.
No, thank you so much. When you said that and you looked at it, I could see the genuineness. I'm like, she's not making that up. It's actually being genuine with this one. So no, I'm so thankful that you could grace us and the fact that you've come. As I said, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Before we do jump into the meat of things, for our viewers, for our listeners, wanted to jump into yourself, your story a little bit. I was thinking about it as to whether to start from childhood and things like that, but then something is just coming to me as we're speaking. Inspiration is already taking me over, and I thought perhaps to start a little bit up from Sheffield, just a little bit on how perhaps we even know each other from Sheffield and that sort of thing.
Yes.
What comes to you when you think of Sheffield? For me, Sheffield, I've got very fond memories of it. It's home to me. That's where my mum first set up base. So every time I go to that city, I just feel that home energy. Yeah. And I've said this before, the only other city that feels like home is Lusaka, Zambia, where I was born. Right now, Leeds is added to that city because I went to university and I lived there for quite a while. But I'm almost digressing. So Zena-Belle, when you think of Sheffield, what sort of thoughts come to you?
I think yes, you've touched on a few points there. which is home. Yes, like yourself, my mom settled in Sheffield, and she was middle-aged woman coming to here to UK to study as well as to do as a nurse. Yes.
Oh, she's a nurse as well. Yes. Just like mom.
Yes. Yes. Right? They came on that year. I think there was something in that year that
in the water.
Yes. So we came down and we settled to one of the places called Share Cliff. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Yes. So that's where I remember when I got to England, I thought, oh, is this it?
Yeah.
I thought,
I've heard so much about it. What's going on?
What's up? So after settling for quite a bit, you get used to it. So I do find Sheffield as a place that I can go to,
there you go.
Yeah.
Does it feel like home to you as well?
It definitely, certainly. Okay. I have traveled to a few other places. I've gone to uni in Leicester University, De Montfort. I've gone to London, but arriving in Sheffield, it's nice to have a place that you call home.
Absolutely. No, I hear you. You know, from what you've said, when you said, is this it? It's funny that you've said that, because that's kind of that was my first impression as well. When I first arrived here, I thought it was going to be magical wonderland, heaven and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, it's just a place, maybe they're a little bit more, white people and that sort of stuff. But it's just another place. Do you get my point?
Exactly. I come from Tanzania, and
I was going to bring that up. I was like, what was the comparison with TZ then?
And I remember I was, I think maybe 12 or 13, I'd say. Yeah. So I still had my friends. You're a teenager at that point. You have friends and,
back home.
And
you were 13 when you came here?
Yes.
I think, brilliant.
Yeah, 13 or 12, something like that. So when I was leaving to come here, they were all like, oh my God, you're going to this, dreamland.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And so I was waiting to talk to them about it. But then when they called up, I just thought, oh yeah, there is a greenhouse and it's nice and clean and that's about it.
Yeah, you're different from me. I used to style it up. Boy, this place is fine. Yeah, God.
Exactly. So no, it is quite a shock. It's a change. It's transformational.
Culture shock. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I do hear you. What do you think are some of the key differences then between, as much as it feels like home, between TZ and whereabouts in Tanzania? We say Tanzania, Tanzania, right? People say it differently, but what would you say were some of the key differences between back home, Africa and being Sheffield, that sort of thing?
Oh, so you're taking me back to memory.
Right?
So, back home in Africa, I come from a city called Dar es Salaam. So it's it's one of the biggest cities in Tanzania. There's vibrance, there is people, it's busy, it's a city, it's full of, new ideas, new people. So like I grew up in a household with my aunties, with my cousins. So I was used to have that environment of you can go outside and speak to your neighbor. You can go outside and, communicate with anyone, and it's fine. Even in school, right? You speak to anyone in different ages. But coming here, I was shocked because
that tightly knit.
You need to know who you are, and you need to know who your neighbors are. You can't just pop up at any point. You need to schedule when they're in the house. So that was a bit different.
Culture shock. Absolutely. I hear you on that one. Yeah. You can't just go to your neighbor's house to go ask for a cup of sugar. They'll look at you sideways.
No.
If they have
you
an
can't
event,
just go to the shop down and just say, can I borrow this? I'll pay you back later.
Exactly. You can't just turn up and that sort of thing. No, the culture shock that you're talking about is something that I experienced myself, and I think it took me quite a while, to adapt to it and to start to assimilate. That's a word that most people to some of the cultures and that sort of thing. But as you found that you've now matured into the land, would you say you still have that same mentality, that you had early on when you came, or what are your thoughts now?
That's a good one. So
has there been any change, or you still feel the same way?
No, I Right. So now I've been here obviously more than like 10 years or so.
There you go.
Yeah. It does, to be fair with you, it feels more at home than it is home.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Home is like, what's home? Is it home? Do I need to go back?
When I go back, I'm much more of an alien as I was when I came here initially.
Yeah.
So, I think I have matured and understood it a bit better.
Absolutely.
But I guess, it's still, if somewhere is foreign to you, it's always going to be foreign.
Have that sense.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why I think, it's really important to know where you're from and to know where home is at. Yeah. Even though I know what you're talking about, the syndrome of, I think they call it third culture kid.
Yeah.
Where because you've spent a majority of your life, you've now spent probably here as much as you did in TZ.
Yeah, right.
So when you go to TZ, they probably look at you as English. But when you go to England, they look at you as TZ.
And you're like,
now caught in the middle.
Where am I?
Right? And that sort of thing. So they call it the third culture syndrome. Syndrome. Mm-hmm. I experienced it myself. I've got some friends that have also gone through it and that sort of thing. And before I used to fight it a little bit because I was like, I
still fight it till now. Right? I'm still like, sure I'm TZ.
Like, I'm a proud Zambian. Same thing. I'm a proud Zambian. But at the same time, I can't deny Britain and the fact that I'm here and everything that I've embraced and the beauty of this land.
Yes.
And Shaf and I had Shaf, him on the podcast, and we spoke as well about just some of the great things about where we are, opportunity and things like that, and the fact that if you work really hard enough, you put yourself in the right environments, something can come out of it, and hence why we're sat here having this amazing conversation, about to dive into your journey and of everything that you're doing and just how God has graced your life. We're here in my little studio that I'm done and this is the power of being here, right? Exactly. So it's kind of like, I feel like you can't really deny that about this land. There's something that, of course, is tough.
It is.
As with anything, I feel like, the past couple of months, especially for me personally, I've been some of my hardest working, right?
Yeah.
I remember speaking to you and you were telling me about time, the fact that, you've been struggling. But not struggling, but the fact that time is just scarce.
Time management.
Right.
Yes, it's such a skill because, God. So there is so much opportunities to take from here. And sometimes you get overwhelmed, right?
There you go.
And sometimes you have to wear all hats, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing studio, but I believe you've put it up, right? Mm-hmm. You had to source, you had to, create it, vision it, bring it to life, you know.
Go. Jack of all trades.
Exactly.
Yes,
so having that responsibility, which means again, we are the generation that you said, we've
third culture.
Third culture. That means that we haven't got a lot of helping hands around us.
No. Yeah.
And that's the, I guess, benefit of anyone who's been brought up here.
Yeah.
They have their aunties and their family, extended families to assist them with
grandparents
things.
And sometimes grandparents leave them inheritance.
Exactly.
Or parents leave them stuff.
Exactly. So for example, I've driven here today I worked far away up in Penrith in Cumbria. I had to drive all the way. So I was passing farms and valleys and they was amazingly beautiful, right?
Places,
amazing places. But then I thought, right, how amazing is this land? It's blessed with opportunities that you can start and do anything. But then we have to know how to handle that. We need to know how to handle our time efficiently.
Absolutely.
Once you manage that, then you can literally manage your life well.
I agree. And prioritization is absolutely key, right?
Yeah.
If you do the right things at the right time, I never understood why my mother always used to push like earlier on to say, school, go to uni or do some of these things early because life shifts and it changes gear. I always used to think things would be the same way, but now my life is shifted to gear. You came and you've seen my family. I now have two.
Yes.
Right? So that means,
which was a shock.
Right? You were like, wow, you've got two. Which means that the way I used to have my time is not going to be the same way. I spend the majority of my time working at the moment whilst I'm building this, and it really occupies me. When I'm at work, when I leave in the morning, by the time I come back, I'm too tired to do anything. And then on my days that I've got like today, I'm recording or I'm sourcing guests and that. So that means my time. And then in all of that, I'm still having to work it out in a way that I can still find time to spend with my family and things like that. It never used to be that way. I used to have 5 days available.
Yes,
7 days at some point, right?
I know. And that also is a big transition because you're coming from, let's say, being a teenager. Because I remember us being youth,
absolutely,
in Sheffield and things like that. And now we have moved a certain level. Now you've got a family that you have to attend to. You know, when you sit down and look back really and you think, wow, is this what life is?
And it's moving.
And
you don't think about it.
You need to know how to manage life, not life manage you. If that makes sense.
You need to know how to manage life because life will manage
you. Exactly. Right? Yeah.
If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I think it is. It's something. It's food for thought. For certain. It's you have to grasp life by the horn. Is that what they say?
Grab it by the horn.
Yeah.
It's like those bullfighters when they're messing around with the bull. When you grab a bull by the horn because it's dangerous.
Exactly.
Right. So when you grab it, you can have a little bit more control.
Of where you want to lead your life.
That's exactly about life. Yeah. And we're here having this beautiful discussion because we obviously made some right decisions at some point.
Yes.
But mainly, as I was saying, this is wonderful conversation, Zena. I look forward to jumping into Zena-Belle and the work that you're doing. But before we do that, I want to jump into yourself a little bit. What I do as well is just background, formative years and that sort of thing. Growing up, if you could tell us a little nuggets, that's if you can remember some of the stuff. Growing up, obviously in TZ before you came to Sheffield and that sort of thing. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Oh wow, you want to go back?
Oh, I wanna go back.
back.
I wanna go back to the crimes.
So, oh gosh, where can I start?
And okay, let me rephrase it this way, right? As you're going back, perhaps you could tie it into the person that you've now become, right? Some of the points that you feel that in those formative years perhaps gave you a clue as to you coming up to the to the point where you've got this heart for women and the work that you're doing with them and that sort of thing. So
so like I mentioned earlier, that I grew up with extended family members. So we used to live with aunties and uncles and things like that. So with that, you do share everything, and even though you're a kid, you still have to share stuff. So my background, if I really talk to you in real honesty, right? I grew up with parents that I would say maybe they're the only one who kind of went to school at that time, right?
All right, yeah.
So they were the breadwinners of their family.
The family. Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So they had to take their families and also bring them up. And that's what happens with, our cultures.
That was my mom.
Yeah.
That's what she did.
They would not just have their kid, they'll still have their sisters,
brothers, uncles,
their kids of the brothers aunties, and the sisters.
Nieces.
To take care of them.
We lived that life, yes.
I grew up with that. So everything in the house used to be shared. Sometimes we used to eat the same meal every day.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I can relate to that.
Then there is that thing of, it's not enough. You have to source things. So, it's really from humble beginnings.
Okay. No, I hear you.
You know how you have to fetch and survive and things like that. So, I grew up seeing my mom also trying to do that.
Yeah.
And just to incorporate that, and I've always been a curious person.
Okay.
Yeah, so even with that, I still used to be curious about what life is, going out there. I'm one of those people who used to have a lot of friends, right?
Okay.
And speak to everyone in school, the popular one, but only have one or two that I stick by.
Really well. Okay.
Yeah,
no,
so with that, I learned
strategy.
I learned a lot from a lot of people. So my curiosity began there, I think.
Okay.
I've always been wanting to know what people struggle with, how to do business, I was just curious. I was a grabber. I used to sit down and I'm a good listener.
Oh, brilliant.
Say. Yeah.
No, that's really great. Yeah.
That really helped.
Okay.
When I was younger. And then as we grew up, we went to schools. And just to mention, I used to be the youngest person in all the schools. So in Africa, right? I don't know if anyone can relate to this. In Africa, it doesn't go by your age.
No.
Like here in the UK.
It goes by your intellect. I had some 30-year-olds in my grade 8. my Form 1, I swear some of those guys were married. And I'm just the prepubescent teen. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go on, let me not derail you.
It's so true.
Yes.
You get to be in a class based on, let's say, if they've given you an exam, you've passed it, then they see you're capable to go in a higher class. So sometimes you can even skip classes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you could be in year 7 and you skip to year, I don't know, 10
Oh, yeah,
or
to
12.
the year above because you're above your... Yeah.
Exactly. So when I was in Africa, I used to be the youngest one.
Okay.
Right? So all my peers until now, the ones I studied with in school, they were all a lot older than me. So then in their like mid-30s and late 30s. So with that, you can get to see people experience things before, I experience them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is something that I learned over time.
Okay.
Having people who are, nowadays you can call them mentors.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
People who have gone through stuff or are specialized in something and they talk about it, or you can see them go through things.
Right.
And then next time learning. Maybe, I can go through that path or not and things like that. So in school, I was the curious one again, the popular one again, and the one that was the youngest. So it gave me a fair advantage.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, by the time I got here, I remember going to school and the best friend that I have today, I have to give her a shout, Adriana. She asked me, do you live in huts in Africa?
No, she did not ask you that.
I swear. She looked at me and she's like, oh, it's my first time. And I was, I think in year, 8 or something like that. Yeah. And she was like, oh, where'd you come from? I was like, I come from Africa.
Yeah.
And obviously, clearly, she's never heard of it or she's seen it on the news. She goes, oh, do you live in huts then? And I thought,
why would you think that?
Yes. So I was shocked already. And then I had to kind of explain them. And then after a few months, they realized, first of all, my English is better than theirs.
There you go.
And then secondly, I was put on a lower class.
Okay.
So the English curriculum, they just put you on I think set C, one, I don't know what the sets are nowadays, but I was on the underset because I was new and I was from Africa.
Like foundational? Because I remember they used to do foundational, then they put you intermediate.
Yes.
Then they raise you before you can do GCSE.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they decide whether you do like the higher GCSE or you do the lower one.
Yes.
Yeah.
They automatically put me on the foundation.
Right.
And I was pissed when I knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And I thought,
what is going on?
Yeah. And I struggled. By the time we're in year 9, I think I was in the higher tier. And then I was in the best class for like the first one in maths.
Okay. Wow.
And they were thinking,
I think we
really
got it
from
wrong.
Africa, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
I think that's a little bit of ignorance there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I experienced it too.
Yeah. So, and the other thing was, I was now put in an age set with all people who are similar age as I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So then it kind of set me down. I was thinking, oh God, I'm way in advance. Even the topics they're learning in school, I've already learned them.
Yeah.
Why am I redoing the things? So it became repetitive. So with that, I thought, okay, I need to step up now. This is not my league. I know more.
Better. Did you feel that you had to prove yourself more than the rest of the crew?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant.
I always felt that I have to do a lot more to just prove. Maybe it was my accent at that time. Yeah. I'm not too sure, but I always had to work a lot more harder. You know what? The funny thing is, I hear a lot of in America, they do say that you have to work twice as hard to get half of what they've got.
Yes. As a black person. Yeah. No, I've heard that saying. My mum used to say that saying all the time. Yeah.
Yes. So, I think it's still the same.
The same way.
Yeah. What I experienced when I got here.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always had to show up. I always had to prove myself. I always had to, know how to do it and show it before they can actually accept me.
Right.
So I did struggle to get the English teacher to give me to a higher class.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I can imagine that's frustrating. Even you even take a knock on your confidence. I'm just glad that didn't happen to you, because for me the story is not too far off from yours, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I wasn't too confident in myself at the time.
Yeah.
So you find that it would knock your confidence a little bit. So for me, it would just distract me and I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so in the end, my work was just atrocious.
Yeah.
Especially when I was in school or in college. They was like,
forget this.
these people just thought I was just not the smartest, the smartest kid in the class. But it was just like, I'm not paying attention because I'm disinterested because you've made me feel some type of way.
Yes.
So I actually commend you, I commend you for having the zeal to actually fight through and want to be better even after going through that, because it would demoralize the average person. And
yes,
sort of
having that said, it's a good point, because I think you do go through those rebellious times.
Oh yes,
where you're like, you know what, F this.
A lot of rebellious times. There's a time where anyway, we'll tell that story for another time. But
I think the resilience that I got was basically I could just give it an all really and truly to my mom.
Brilliant.
I think when you come back home and you get to see her struggle and keep on pushing even though you get a decline here or a no there, I think having seen that struggle, I think sometimes if you see people who struggle so much to get somewhere, even if you do try, it's okay, because everyone does that.
Absolutely,
I go in a house thinking, you still have to try because this is how you do it, really, because I don't know anything else.
Absolutely. And do you not think we have a responsibility, right? Because I don't know how it was for your mum, but the way my mum got here, she had to scrape, she had to fight. That's the spirit about her that I don't know if I would say I embody, but I just absolutely admired and loved about her. She had this vision for her kids, for herself, and for coming to this land. And the way she did it was with such tenacity. And sometimes when she would get mad before I'd found my way, basically, I didn't understand at the time. It didn't make sense and everything else. And she would get emotional, feel some type of way. Now when I think about it, I'm like, I get it now. Right? I get it now, because it's like, they did so much and they were fighting and juggling and she was doing it by herself.
Yes.
So it kind of like, for me, I feel like there's a responsibility for me to do better, because I'll say, the life that you were describing earlier, the way you lived sharing, the life of sharing, that's exactly the life that I lived too. And don't get me wrong, right? My mom was a hard worker and everything else, but there were times you don't have, there were times you don't eat as well and that kind of thing. But then that's just the culture that we lived in. There were times where they'll buy you something which is like 3 times bigger, because you're going to grow in it, or you're going to get your brother wears the clothing that we used to wear was already worn, or even when you buy clothing, second-hand clothing was a standard buy. Like I didn't know anything about new clothing until when I now had the opportunity to be buying myself new clothes. There's a point I went clothes obsessed, and now it's all coming back to me as I'm speaking to you, Zena. It's making sense why I used to buy clothing like every week. I'll buy
you're
new
binging
clothes,
on that because
I never had it. It's something that I never had. So anyway, I'll bring it back to saying that for me personally, I feel like there's a responsibility for me to build, or not that it's like forced, but I feel it just because of how mom came and what she did and everything else. I don't know how you feel about it.
What do you call it? It's an unspoken responsibility. Right? No one really tells you that you need to do it, or no one really forces you to do it, but you know that you have to do it.
Absolutely.
Right? You know that you have to give it a try. And if you don't give it a try, there's something nagging you in the back of your head saying, why are you just taking this opportunity for granted?
Remember so many how people, you got here.
Could have the opportunity that you'd have. They will play 10 times more than you would.
Absolutely. They'll make the most of it.
So God has given you, has picked you, especially you, to come here as a first generation at that time for your family.
There you go.
Why can't you step up and play game? So that is something that I think sometimes it does crop up in the back of my head once in a while, only because you do have the extended family and they're still back there. So when they text you or message you, you're like, oh man,
what's going on?
I have a responsibility here. Can I send me some money for this week? I need to do this. Or, I've just had a new baby. You can't just be like, congratulations, halas, I will not talk to you. No.
Okay, what's your account number? What's your Western Union?
Exactly.
I don't know, do people still use Western Union?
Yeah, we do. We're still
World Remit, no,
there
that
is
kind
Nala.
of stuff.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Give me your Nala number so that I could support you, because even now, I mean, it's just recent. My mom goes back home and doesn't have 10,000 suitcases to go with her.
Really? She takes loads?
Yeah, before that, we used to pack a lot of things
to take back for
family and
people.
friends.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know, a way to say thank you or whatever. But yeah, the responsibility part of it, yeah, it is there. And yeah, it is true. I just think it's because that I don't know, I'm a firstborn. I don't know if you are as well, right?
No, I'm not a firstborn. No, right? I'm a secondborn.
Oh, you're secondborn.
I got a brother back home.
Oh, okay.
He's the firstborn responsibility.
I see. But no, they say secondborns turn out better than
right. That's the case, yeah. But
so I'm
not doing too bad. Anyway, go on,
so the reasons why I normally feel like there is a responsibility is because I know that my parents worked so hard.
Definitely.
Especially my mom to get here.
Yeah.
So if anything, actually, it's something that dawned to me. It kicked maybe like yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was more like when my parents get older, right? Would I be able to give them a good or try as much as possible to give them the life that they've given me? And this doesn't have to be to your family.
Profound.
That can be to your kids. You might just want to say, right, now can I give the best quality of life
that they gave me?
To my
Zena, that's a quotable right there. But go on, go on.
Yeah, so I think that's what actually my motivation for every day. Yeah.
Wow. That's profound, and that's so inspired, because I'm gonna go listen back to that and just write it down. It's like, when you think about it, very few people think that way, because even in this land where we live, people will think that their parents are a burden. They will think, they get older and they don't want to have anything to do with their parents.
Right.
But you forget that these people really had to do a lot to raise you, even to keep you. And I'm seeing these little people with my wife at home and the way they're like she's having to do with this one's crying, this one is lifting you, so she's lifting a chair on her head and you don't know what's going on, and she's having to do, and you raise them and you love them and you give them. So what you've said there just sounds so blessed, and it's like you're honoring them in a way, and look how it's now motivating you to even want to do better. So it's kind of like you've got a reason to do better, right? And you think that way your life will actually be blessed, because you've given yourself a reason as to why you should ascend. Whereas oftentimes the majority of people that don't want to have anything to do with their parents, when you look at their life, it's just like it's a life of misery sometimes. I'm not saying everyone,
not everyone,
but it's a life of disarray, and it's like because they feel they don't have a sense of purpose for why they exist.
Or they might have reached all their goals in life, but feel like get to an earlier age.
What more is there?
Is there something else? There's something that's unfulfilled. It's only because you're not actually going back to your roots to actually see why. And just to take it back, again, we have come from Africa, we are here, okay? And if you look at the history of the British, most of them do works that prioritize their future and future generations.
Absolutely.
So for majority of them, if let's say they create a road, they're not thinking, it's because I need to get to my house from point A to B. They're actually
from
thinking
my grandchildren
and my grandchildren. It will be easier for them to actually not start from fresh to create the road for themselves. So when you take that perspective into our cultures, you can then say, right, if I'm going to get better at a certain level, then the offspring that I'm going to bring, they're not going to start again from Africa, are they?
Not to start all over fresh. Exactly.
Yes, their burden and responsibility are already taken from me. Yes. So again, those generational things, you can actually extend them to be greater.
I agree.
Instead of you dawning into that part of it of, I'm back from home and things like that.
And starting afresh. Such a pertinent point that you've had, because oftentimes most of our people everyone is always starting from afresh.
Yes.
Right? This one started, my dad started, and then his dad started. It's like where is the thing that carries on that way? Where is something that I'm using to get me ahead? Because you and I it should be a situation where it's like I've got like some grandparent money to help me even start a business. Or some money or something.
Sometimes you find like it's the house of sailors.
Yes.
So they've been been sailing for generations and generations to
Yes.
come. So when you have kids, they already have all the technicality and the means and the know-how that their grandfathers used to do.
Absolutely.
And they
which is
actually
even better, the
perfect them.
skill.
Yes, to do them
Yeah.
more. But now you find like, oh my, I want to do this thing and I actually have no idea.
I don't know what I want to
Where to
do.
start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do I do? Do I want to go study this at uni, or do I,
Exactly.
that kind of thing? No, you're absolutely right. And I mean, this is something that I think about myself, and to say, for my children, I hope and I pray that their experience will be different, that I'll have something to give them by the time they turn 18 years old.
Yeah.
I want them to have some options, just to give them something like, look, if you want to try out business, try it. It's not guaranteed it's going to work. I'm not going to do it with the pressure of like, the business must work because I've given you money. No, it's choose. Do you want to do business? Do you want to go to school? Because now there are more and more avenues and options for people to do without even going to uni. But if you have that option, what's that like, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what can I do for my children to give them perhaps something that I didn't have? I will say this. My mom definitely set like a certain foundation. Do you get what I mean for us? And she definitely gave us something for me, and I that's why I always say like that's something that I want to build on, not only for myself but for my kids, not only for my kids but for their kids and their kids, and also to instill this in them as we go along, to say, look, you want to be able to build a business that's your own, that you can pass on to your family, and let's make it generational. The thing that you're saying, if we're building on a skill, if we're going to be doing podcasting,
I'm all about generational wealth.
right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me I'm a jack of all trades because I do everything. I do editing, I do sound. If I bottle this, I will teach that one. He learns, we build it up. It's a business. You can pass it on, and then we become known as a family of podcast or whatever it is.
So in England, you can see a lot of companies. I think I was when I was driving down here today. It said something like, "We've been the best customer service since
70 years."
Yes, of 1875, and I thought. Bloody hell, that is apologies for my language, but
don't worry. This is like a universal podcast. You speak as you will. Let inspiration take over. Go ahead.
I can't believe that they've been given best customer service before I don't even know my grandparent.
Your grandfather was born
at that time. That means that's stuck on as a family business, maybe it's something that we can pull up and say, in the next 30 years. I mean, hopefully we're still alive.
Still around. By God's grace, I always say.
Amen. Yes. We can say, my kid, I remember starting that in the garage somewhere, and now my kid is leading it.
In the garage, right? Just speaking, and it's like, can't you feel the energy, Zena, right? Just even when you come, like this, a certain atmosphere. And I feel like energy doesn't lie. When you come in the presence of something and you feel something, that's telling you something of what's to come. And I feel that's so important. And even the podcast, that's why I call it like, just let inspiration take over, because oftentimes people, you try and put something and mold it and you want it to become something, and then it just becomes the opposite of whatever you're trying to make. However, if you allow for it to happen, you actually even get something better out of it. But I was going to bring it back as well. So what I wanted to ask you, I know we've touched a little bit on upbringing and education. I want to touch more so on your higher education now, right? We touched on college a little bit. What was that like for you in terms of higher education? Was it a choice, your own choice to go to university and that sort of thing, or do you feel like it was influenced by mom? What motivated you?
No, that's a good point. There is something before I answer that. I think you say something like let inspiration take over, which is the kind of like a slogan of your podcast. And something came to mind, which was I think everyone in the world has a purpose.
Absolutely.
You do. You have something that either comes out and goes back again, something new, but there is something that that you feel that you should do.
You're called.
Yes, you're called to do. And they say that if you find your calling, the easier it is for you.
Easy.
It's
it
easy.
Feels nice.
Life is
like this. Feels like just enjoyment, but it's a lot of work.
Exactly. You still have to put the work, because what did they say in the Bible, that if you do not work, and man who does not work shall not eat.
Shall not eat. Absolutely. It's so, that simple.
So it's important to make sure that you are inspired by finding your purpose. So keep trying. Some people do try and fail and then try something else.
Try
keep
again.
Trying until you find a place like voila. I mean, sometimes purpose do change, you know. So whilst you're discovering what to do something else, it pops out and populates something better. So do keep trying in that regard until something that actually sticks by you as inspiration to do and do it.
I agree.
And in terms of talking about high education, so again, funny story here.
We love stories here on this platform. Go on, tell us that story. Tell us the story.
So once you finish your A levels, then you go to, some people go to college, and I remember there's used to be Longley Park. A lot of people used to go to Longley Park College at that time. I went to Notre Dame, and that is a diverse, completely different type of, background of people, because I came to Farvel. Farvel is multicultural, which is good because it actually eased me up into the education system. So I'm grateful for that. I wasn't just, the only black kid. I was alongside with a lot of Somalians, Pakistani, Arabs, it was very multicultural. And then when I went to Notre Dame now, which is the other side of the city in Sheffield, there was majority of, British born kids, right? So that was transformational. And I think I remember in college, in Notre Dame, it's called sixth form.
Yes.
They were like, I had a teacher, a psychology teacher. What was he, a math teacher? He looked at me with his eyes and said, I think it was the first time we did A-levels. And I swear to God, I got all E's at that time. There was no A's, no B's. I don't know. It was just a transformation change. I did not know how to. I know the knowledge, but I didn't know how to apply it, I think. And he looked and he said, I don't think you should go to university. I think you can't.
What?
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to fit into university with the grades that you're showing up here. I think maybe you could just go and get any job after this.
I'm sorry, who are you to tell me that? And do you know what's so creepy about what you've said? You're not the first person to say that, to have had that say to them.
Yeah.
So I mean, why are some of these people telling our children?
Yes.
That is mad. How did that make you feel in the moment?
Because it is hard to grasp. First of all, you're like, again, the kickback. Oh, maybe I should just sit down and not do anything really.
Like, do you know what? Maybe
I love it.
You know what? He's right. Let me just go chill out. Yeah.
But the good thing is I came with a few friends from Farvel. So I just said, you know what? He's told me this, but I am going to try and prove him wrong. I will try my best and see what I need to know to do to apply for university. And I will still apply for university. Brilliant. So at that time, I think I wanted to apply to like Cambridge and Oxford and all that kind of stuff. So it didn't deter me, so it actually motivated me. So sometimes you can use your setbacks, especially the word of mouth, when someone speaks to you something that's degrading. Those words
to your advantage.
Yes, those words can be powerful if you take them in. So don't let them in until you're ready and use them to your advantage.
Yes. Yeah. You can actually use them as inspiration. And that's something that I say as well, to say, inspiration doesn't always come from the prettiest places. Sometimes the things that will motivate you the most are when you're angry.
Exactly.
When you're disgusted.
Exactly.
Excuse me, sorry. When you're disappointed.
Yes.
Because that's partly what motivated myself to even go to university, was somebody fired me on a whim. I was not happy about that. Wow. Straight up, I left that place, go to enroll in college. I'm like, I'm gonna get a degree so I can do what I want, so that somebody never fires me like that again. And even if they do, right, I'll be able to find something else. And there you go. And sometimes that's how God works. He will do something that you may not understand in the moment, but it leads you to where He's calling you to sort of go. But
you're so right. God works in miraculous ways. So sometimes He doesn't you think that He's punishing you or whatever, but He's actually giving you.
He's trying to show you something. Look at the message that He's giving you.
Because that was a fuel for me to actually go and work hard. And, I then realized on how to actually answer the questions. And then it motivated me. Then I actually applied for uni. Brilliant. And then got into uni. And then I was like, voila. And that time your mom is like, oh, I brought my kid and they're actually finally in uni,
Yes, and they'll get excited and they're really happy about that. That
definitely. Their kids are now actually going to uni easily, know. So yeah, it got me into applying into university. So I did some research courses on what I wanted to study and things like that. And, you know, I thought, okay, yeah, I'm happy to go for the university route rather than any other route at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's absolutely brilliant. And what did you end up studying, you know, at university? What did you study?
So I did accounting and business management.
Oh, brilliant. I did business management.
Oh, did you? Yeah, the courses are not fun to do, but yeah.
Right? There were some modules I was just like, why did I even choose this? This is the management.
And then I took what do you call it? I took a year out. Okay. It's called an Erasmus year. Yeah. To study international business in France. So
right.
I got to do a bit of that as well.
Why France? What led you to there?
Oh God, I think.
Questions are coming today.
Oh my God!
And be honest, if you try and make it up, we'll be able to tell. No,
yes.
I'm kidding.
So, truth be told, right? Oh God.
Yeah.
So you're going back. So in university, again, when I was growing up, it was very difficult for us to go out.
Okay.
As kids, we were told to. My parents used to always be like, "Oh, you have to be back by 6 o'clock." You know, not messing around. And if you're gonna go anywhere else, tell us. So in uni was my first time, you know, coming back out. You know, a bit late. 7. I'm like, oh my God, I've come back at 7 now. You know. And I think it was my first time to have a boyfriend. So yeah,
at university,
in England. So I had a boyfriend who was from West Africa.
Oh really?
Yeah, and they spoke French from Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what happened, but like. I dated him for that year, the first year of university, before I chose to go to Erasmus. But he always spoke French when he was on the phone with his family, and he had a few friends. So I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. I really want to learn the language.
There you go.
And they say there's no any other place to learn the language but go to France.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Nah, that's brilliant. And I mean, what was your general uni experience then for yourself? Do you find that is something that grew you as a person in terms of mingling with other cultures, or what was your experience of university? Remember?
University for me taught me a lot of growth, responsibilities, and again, I never got to live with what do you call it, student accommodations.
Right. Were you still at home?
No. Oh, I took out a flat.
Okay.
Just in the city center. Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
With just one of my friends.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have that interlink of,
that student lifestyle.
Right.
No. Okay.
We had our own lifestyle and then, you know, get acquainted with people in the university. So, brilliant. With that meant that my bills weren't inclusive.
Okay. So you had to be paid.
Yeah. Learned how to budget, paying electricity and bills. But no, uni was good. Okay. Uni was fun.
Yeah. It was fun. We don't need to hear the details. But another thing that I did say we would speak about today, which I'm quite keen to speak about, is Zena-Belle. So Zena-Belle.com.
Yeah.
So I was reading a little bit about it. I really like the way you've set it up. By the way, check it out, guys. And yes, this is a plug. You know, we do our plug seamlessly. It was describing a little bit, you know, about your name and that sort of thing and everything else. And yeah, man, it's quite interesting. So I'm keen to hear how that that came about, the site, and perhaps if you could dig deep a little bit into what you do. Right. So perhaps we could just start from a point of what inspired it, for starters, and then you could tell us a little bit more about it. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Shout out. Zena-Belle started a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's been phantom to our website recently. I think it's due to lockdown actually pushed me to actually make a website for it. But Zena-Belle is something that I've had a while since I was in university, and then went to then came back here. So I had seen again the background of having lots of women growing up and finding it difficult to strive on their own.
Yes.
And that's what I've always grown up around. So I was inspired to make do and inspire other women to do more and be better. Yeah. So I always known that if you educate a woman, you educate a village. Okay,
there you go.
That's what I've always
Better
learned.
say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, if you educate a woman, you do educate. So
educate a
back in the
village,
days, people never even used to want women as kids. But now you can see there's more empowerment in women because you can see that they can multiply things. They say that women multiply things. They have got that
you
power.
Give them a small thing, they'll give you a bigger
big
thing. You give them problems, you get a headache. You know?
So when you give them lemon, they make lemonade. And Zena-Belle was inspired by the scarcity of knowledge in the women that I knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And seeing, let's say, not just myself, maybe the friends that I grew up, wanting to do things and not having a community for it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I created it during the lockdown period.
Right.
I created
so it's
the website.
Recent.
Yeah, quite recent actually.
It's very well put together. I thought it's something that you might have had for like a while.
The website just came recently.
Right.
But in that, it's been able to empower women and speak to women. But also, I collaborate with a charity called UWA, which is United Women Affiliation, which they're also based in Sheffield. They inspire more adult side of it, and I do more like my teenagers and things like that.
Young people.
People who want to start up businesses and experienced. So the ideally is people from immigrant backgrounds. People wanting to start up businesses. People want to find motivation, inspiration like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
People wanting to, who have actually failed all in life and think, you know what? This is it for me. I'm gonna settle.
The ones that are vulnerable and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So every single time I used to go back home often, at least once a year or two years. I go back home and I can see that my life is progressing, but
other people are just on the same.
Yeah, they're just on the same level. And I thought, why? Is there something different here? Then it plugged to me that, oh my goodness, I actually have something that other people don't.
Brilliant.
And I remember studying in France. To be honest with you, I think I went most of the time I was probably just here and there in classes, but the one class that I attended, it talked about bridging gaps.
Brilliant.
So bridging gaps means bridging any disorganization from one type of society to another. So that could be even in our communities where we are here in England. There is a lot of multicultural communities, and it's about bridging those gaps,
which is very important.
Combination and working. There's power in unity.
Absolutely.
And with that, I've figured that I've connected a lot of people, and it has actually, they have grown to make their own relationships from that.
That's great.
And it gives me great privilege. Sorry about that, but it gives me great privilege to know that any little thing you've done has an effect.
There's a larger effect
on someone else's life. Because initially, I think I had someone say, you know what, Zena, I was married and then I got divorced and had a kid, and psychologically or mentally, I was really gone. I was down.
Wow.
But then after coming up in these communities, or actually just viewing one or two of your videos, it inspired me to think about my life again. Brilliant. And to start things and to, to try again, to not give up on life. And I think that's the main purpose of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so you do videos as well, like content that you make. Do you make content as well?
Yes, I've started that recently. I've not done much of that yet, so I'm hoping to grow it.
So far?
We've gone out, let's say last year, and we've videoed, let's say individuals who are struggling to get by. Then we assisted in that. So
that's great.
The transformation of, I haven't got a house, I haven't got anything, and now I've moved into a house, I'm okay.
Brilliant.
And then I've got my Instagram, which I'm still currently working on it. It's
growing.
Not really, it's not really there yet, but that is just to for people to just click a button and listen when they're free in their spare time. So
brilliant, man. No, I think you're doing some amazing work, especially it comes from an inspired place. The fact that you've got a heart for women, I think you're going to go far, and anywhere where we as a platform can help you, absolutely. Like if I can get you connected, but let me not say if, because I'm working that vocabulary out of my system. When I can get you connected to the right places.
When you do get me connected.
When I do get you connected, I most certainly, will do, and that sort of thing. I mean, I was going through the site and I could see there a couple of sections of things you do. So I'll just see if I can find some, and just so we can hear a little bit more, or perhaps are you able to talk us through, some of the things that you actually do, as part of your work and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So in terms of the website itself, if you click on it, you will get various aspects of it. So you get some documents to download. I think I've got a few readables there about buy to let.
There you go.
So you can get into the business of knowing how to actually start own properties without actually having any money.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those are just knowledge. It's not something that you have to pay for. And then when you come on my platform, for example, to move that from the website, you get someone like Sanshia, which she is actually currently doing that.
Yes.
And she can speak about the opportunities given her and what she's learned from that.
Brilliant.
And actually to do it. And hopefully that is a little startup guide for someone who wants to, go into property, for example.
Absolutely. And by the way, Sanshia will be coming on this platform very soon. I think it's in about a week or two from now, where she will be breaking down everything that she does. That sort of thing. And it's courtesy of Zena,
again,
by the way. So that's going to be
she's a phenomenal woman.
Right.
So,
it's going to be another amazing conversation, just digging deep and finding out a lot more about the work that she's doing. Please check out this
YouTube video with Sanshia next time.
Absolutely. Be looking forward to that one. I know you were talking about there's a travel aspect, there's a finances aspect. Are you alright to talk us a little bit about what the travel entails and that sort of thing, just briefly?
Oh God, travel. It's not an easy area to talk about because I'm passionate of it as much as I am with the women. So as you know, I'm from Tanzania and we've got a little island called Zanzibar, right?
Okay.
And Zanzibar is I think I heard one of your guests visited Zanzibar.
Yes, that's Shaf,
yes.
We were saying about how your people are so kind and so warm and welcoming.
Yes.
He loved it.
And he goes, that's not a place where you go if you want to start a business, because that's a holiday zone.
Oh, right. Yes. But isn't that where you start a business? If it's a holiday zone, that's opportunities, right?
So when you actually be in that environment, you see a lot, you get inspired. So what my inspiration came from was I had gone to France to study, and then during France the Erasmus year, what happens is kids from America come, from Mexico come, from different parts of the world, and they're like, well, we're gonna be in Europe for this 1 year, let's take advantage of it, let's travel the world. So what happened is they had we had booked a Euro tour to go different cities and countries. So I was like, wow, this is an opportunity to actually travel, but I can also make a living out of it.
Absolutely. Why not?
And it's opened my horizon quite grandly that there is different types of lifestyles. So I thought, why can't I start a travel business? Right? And your holiday abroad really brushed from me going to Paris and traveling around Europe. And I thought I'll go back home, and there's no any other better place to start but Africa. So your holiday abroad is about inspiring, especially even diasporas who are up in England and haven't been back home but wouldn't like to go home just to visit family, because sometimes it's quite daunting and you're too busy with family. You just want to go and relax and take a holiday. Instead of using Europe as your to go to, let's put the funds back to our countries, Africa. And there is amazing destinations to visit in Africa. There is places like Botswana, there's places like South Africa, there's Namibia,
Zambia as well.
There is Victoria Falls,
that whole
there's Cape Verde, there's Mauritius. There is.
So is that what you're going to be doing as part of
Exactly.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
So that's what your holiday abroad does. So I would like anyone who can get on board and on your holiday abroad to try and even go for even one holiday through us.
Absolutely.
Or communicate it with your friends and family. We do either group holidays or single holidays. For anyone who wants to travel to any destination in Africa, we have local tour guides that we work with, and essentially that gives back to the community.
Absolutely. And have you already facilitated some holidays?
Yes. So yeah. We've facilitated one last year.
Yeah, go on.
It's not like it's big. You have to do baby steps because there's a lot of planning and
I hear you.
learning progress, because the travel industry is dominated by European. That's what I realized as well. When you go out, especially in Tanzania or in places for tour with the safaris, there are a lot of German companies that have been there for years and years. And I thought, why us, our people, are not owning these industries? Okay,
absolutely,
we can try something. So that's when I thought, okay, it takes a lot of planning before that, and what people need and things like that. So I did go to a few countries in Africa and then plan the itinerary and see what's the best things and the challenges that I can face when you're in that country. It does.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? I'll look at it and see how I can support, even if I know I can't, I'm not able to directly support. Send people your way, especially what you're doing. It sounds absolutely inspirational. And I've always thought about this. There's so many amazing places back home in Africa, right? Yet people will go to holiday destination, Mallorca, Spain, Rio, and all these other. Why not back home? And so that's a really great industry to tap into. Absolutely, really gorgeous and really. But again, the thing that you said, most times those travels are not facilitated by us.
So
how are you supposed to know to tell us about us when you're not even us?
Exactly.
Do you get my point?
And then the other thing is people who actually do these trips, they don't really know the culture, so they just take you to the the fun side of it. And then you come back. So really there's no difference in your travel. But if you go through us, the prices first are not extortionate, because we work with tour guides and we help the local people. So everything that you actually give in, 10% of that goes back to them.
Local. So you're actually giving back, which is sustainable.
Sustainability. That's what we want, because we want to eventually grow it into a stage where we have trained, anyone who's local, they could come for education purposes and grow their families, because there's a lot going on there, and
most certainly,
as little things you can do.
Do you know what I love about that is that you're not coming in with like handouts, you're not coming in on some charity tip on get money. You're actually empowering people, and that's something that I've thought about to say, like, at some point, if I can do it, I would rather empower people than like hand them crumbs and that sort of thing. So the fact that you're giving back to the communities, I think that's absolutely brilliant, and that's quite inspirational. But yes, Zena, as well, with Zena-Belle.com, are there any other things that perhaps you guys do as an entity? I don't want to just call it a website, because I think it's more than a website that I might have missed that you'd like to, I don't know, to discuss.
No, I think that's the main points. The majority of it is just assisting, and I know it's mainly focused on women, but I think the materials provided there, they can really help anyone.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is we all know finances, in the UK, actually everywhere around the world, everything has gone up extortionately.
Oh yes. Bills and inflation and, energy bills went up by how many ever percent? Something percent.
And it's everywhere around the world. So it's a matter of being financially literate.
Yes.
And I think that ties in with my educational background. That I've done a bit of a finance and accounting. So I thought there is some little nuggets there to teach you or to know how to invest.
Oh, right.
So you can just click on a few things to read that can help you in the website about.
So that's there on the website, like financial literacy and things like that.
Yes.
Just to read. Okay.
Yes, or where to invest and things like that.
Yeah. I know you do your own socials as well. You do interviews, and that's how I caught the Sansha interview and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about that and how you share it, or perhaps the platforms, where it is, that sort of thing. So
you'll be able to find me on Zena-Belle, and it's Zena with an underscore, Belle.
Yeah.
You will also find me on the website, on my Instagram itself. I bring various people who have been successful in their careers.
Brilliant.
I've got a few interesting ones coming up again this
There
month.
you go. You're doing this as well. It's not just me doing these interviews. Zena's doing it
so
too.
you're more than welcome to join in.
Yeah,
you're more than welcome.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And that really is to give you not just motivation, but to tell you get ahead and start. Get going and do it. Don't fear. You can start from anywhere.
Yeah.
And then there's a website. And eventually, like, it's a community. So I'm trying to grow a community of like-minded people.
Do you know what? I'll come on as well just to talk about this journey. Obviously, it's still an ongoing journey and something that I'm building at the moment. But I feel like I've amassed quite a bit of knowledge on, especially when it comes to the podcasting game and how I've even put this little thing together, how long it's taking me and things. So we'll talk about me appearing.
Definitely.
Even if it's just a short
I want you to come. I do want you to talk about everything you've done.
To talk about everything that I'm doing. I will most certainly just count me in. Just let me know when.
So just literally book you in.
I most certainly will. And I'm just offering. Today that's Inspiration Takeover and it's recorded. So I can't go back on this, guys, But even just in the work that you're doing, Zena, it's just amazing. And it's I can feel the genuineness and the heartfeltness, and there's nothing wrong. The fact that it's women, like it's dedicated to women. Absolutely, that's where you're called. That's where you are led. That is perfect, and it's like a specific area. I think it gives you more focus when you know where you stand and when you know where you're called. Because sometimes when you're all over the place, it can be displaced and it's hard to channel it. But when you know where it is you're being called, you can do great work there because it's focused. Do you get my point? So anywhere that I'm able to help out or I can give in terms of resources and things like that, you know me, you've got my contact. I'll be there. As I said, even this conversation, it's been inspired. It's been almost off the cuff because even the way we put it together, you came straight from where I was doing stuff, but I was like, listen, we sit down, inspiration takes over, and we have the chat, right?
And I think, Makuza, oh my God, this is what that matters. Sometimes you have to work, even if you have the passion, you need to put the work towards it.
Absolutely.
It's your passion, but you had to invest in the materials that you've invested. By the way, it's really good quality here. Everything is amazing.
I appreciate it.
I feel like I need to camouflage some of these things. So, you have to invest in your dream and your purpose. Don't think because you have a vision, it will just appear. That I think that's what I grew to know now, that you have to cultivate it just as a relationship. For it to grow and prosper, you need to invest the time and everything that it needs, effort. The hunger has to stay only if you cultivate it.
Definitely.
And I think for majority, people just think, all right, I'm gonna do it one day,
and I want to do it, but I'm waiting.
Or I wish,
and I could do it that way. Or subpar. The subpar one is the one that really gets me, where it's like, well, this is too expensive, so I'm just gonna get whatever and do it. It's like, no. Having that said, however, you do have down moments. Of course,
It's not a straight road. It's literally, I know there's times that I have given up. Or I don't want to use the word depressed, but I just want to use the word maybe like unmotivated. What would you say? Demoralized and say, you know what, I'm just not gonna do anything about it because I've tried enough, or I want it to be perfect in the way that it should be, or I vision it, but it's not there. And if I start, it's not gonna look exactly
or the comparison, where you compare yourself to other people. But he's doing it this way and I don't have that.
And you think, oh my goodness, it's gonna take me a while to get there. But what you don't realize is that the little steps actually build, little brick by brick build the house. So if you start even doing something small, it will grow, it will multiply. Because again, if you don't have anything God to bless you with, God is not going to bless you.
Absolutely.
Because there's nothing to multiply. So you have to show God that you're willing and you're trying, and anything backed with God will be prosperous.
I agree. You better preach again, Miss Zena. That's literally been my life step by step. But the work aspect, the work component, the tenacity component, you cannot take that away, and it takes a lot. It takes hours. Sacrifice. It takes not doing certain things. I mean, there've been moments in the past 7 to 8 months where friends have gone to things I can't go.
Exactly.
They want to go clubbing. I'm like, nah, I would rather buy I'd rather buy a table and a rug and little things.
And you're having to do that whilst you're also working.
Whilst I'm also needing to buy food for my people and pay bills and everything else. But like the thing, what I found is that when you're committed towards something and you get started, it consumes you, which is what you want, what you said. Working, like I've never worked as hard as I've been working, and I love every moment of it. Of course, sometimes I feel tired. I'm like, I need some rest. But I'm like, this needs to get done because eventually it will get to a point to where everything will slow down, but there'll be something to show for.
Exactly. Yes. You can't take breaks. For me anyway, I do take breaks because sometimes it's overwhelming with everything.
Oh yes, it can get a lot.
Yeah. And if let's say I can't afford a holiday, for example, the one that I want, I will just take a weekend of literally doing nothing, because what you want to avoid is burnout.
Yes.
Burnout will lead you to not doing halting, and that means that you're not doing anything to prolong your movement. Now if you do that, it will take you twice as long or 3 times as long
to get it done.
So what I've done is make it fun, make it exciting, and keep it moving, even if it's slow, but move forward.
Absolutely. Always be moving forward, one thing at a time. It doesn't mean don't take breaks. It doesn't mean don't pace yourself, right? It doesn't mean don't have time for your people, because as you've said, you do need a healthy aspect of it as well, because for me, my people are my healthy aspect. When I'm around my children and I'm around my wife and that sort of thing, they're doing whatever things that they're doing home, I'm at home, and it gives me that sense of peace. But then when I'm out there in the hustle, I'm like a mad person. I'm like a robot doing this and that, and even when I'm reaching out to people and this and things like that, I'm a different person. But when I'm at home, I'm dad,
your peace,
and this and that, and
you got a little different hat then.
Different hat, right? But I will tell you this then, every aspect of what I'm doing at the moment, I love it. I love it not because it's easy or straightforward. I was telling you some of the stories where some things have been difficult. Sometimes I've seen disappointment. Things haven't worked out exactly how I wanted. I've bought things, they're the wrong things. I've done this and whatever, but I am so determined. I am so encouraged to build, to do something that is going to make a difference in people's lives, because the quality that I want to even be able to produce at some point is not just for me. Right? My ultimate goal is to build a studio that can help other people to release content, other people to even put out messages. Perhaps they're not interested in content building at all. I will bring them and say, okay, I love your message. Let me put something together for you and let's make this happen. Let's go out there. Let's go get some money in a way as well, because I'm not doing this for free, to be honest. And let's see how I can put back into your pocket the same way that you're giving to me, because it's the thing that you said. I don't believe in just taking. No, I also want to say, okay, in what way can I help you put something back in your pocket, and how do we connect? How do we leverage the networks that we're going to build? And it's only fair. It's only fair. So
so I'm gonna add on 2 things. One being that you never lose when you're giving back. Everything that you give back, it's something that
when you're giving
you
back.
never lose when you.
Another quotable.
That one comes from the Quran, and the Quran says that God shall multiply you. What leaves in your right hand, your left hand shall not see it.
Brilliant.
So don't think, I've given this person this.
But then
forget about
this
it.
One?
Yes, because then something miraculously
is going to happen.
From that.
I literally said this earlier today to someone. And I was saying, if you're going to give with this hand and you want that hand to see, then don't. I always say, if you're going to remind me about something that you gave me, you shouldn't have given it.
No.
It's similar to me. If I've given to someone and I want to remind the word that I've given, then it defeats the purpose. Why did you even do it?
Give it at the same time. And the power in that is because anything that you give will come back to you. So if you want something, I used to see is if you want something, give it.
Absolutely.
And then it will come back to you in a better way.
Tenfold.
Yes.
Tenfold.
And the other thing was in regards to having a vision, for example. I think it's important to have a vision.
Absolutely.
Getting stuck with different things. I had to sit down and you had to narrow things down.
Okay.
And know that, okay, I have to have a type of plan. The plan might not go in accordance to it, but at least you have a plan to guide you. So for example, you mentioned something about you would like to have people come here and instead do something for them and produce it and things like that. That is your ultimate plan or goal and vision, right?
Yes.
So little behold, you might have in the midst of it an investor coming to you and say, right, I do like your work. I would like to invest in you. And
to do it on a grander scale.
Exactly.
Because it's like, that's what I was saying about why I'm so big on quality.
Yeah.
Because this small quality that's showing, somebody will come and they say, I want to bottle that and multiply it.
Exactly.
When you do it in a bigger.
Exactly. So invite
Absolutely.
it in your
I do.
And that will come because that's what you actually wanted to do or want to do.
Yes.
So it might come sooner, it might come later.
I even think.
Yes.
I received that. Let it come.
So
let it
as long as you have your dream and your vision, don't lose focus of it.
Absolutely.
Keep doing what you know you're supposed to be doing and get more knowledge to get better.
And that's research and hard work. You know, Auntie Mosuku came here. That's our aunt, by the way, guys. And she said hard work never killed anyone.
No.
Right? Hard work feels hard.
Yeah.
But it's so satisfying.
It's
so rewarding. It's so beautiful because when you see your work come together, it just feels so great. Because even like we're talking about this is taking a while and it's taking a lot of work. But when I now sit down and I can have this wonderful conversation with a person like yourself, it's worth it.
Also, I've listened to a couple of your videos, which I found very inspiring.
Oh,
so shout out to everyone who's already come to Mkuza's videos.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I've taken one thing from each video that I've learned, but more alongside if in general that they all had to start somewhere.
Oh,
A.
yes.
And B is now if you look at it, let's say one of them had 3 or 4 franchises, right? Or the other one had learned to be more spiritual over time and known how to,
and it's still growing.
And you do need little setbacks sometimes.
Yes.
To prolong.
To grow you.
Yeah, to
make you better.
Yeah. So I found with your holiday abroad, I did initially start with, a friend, I would say, or someone that I know of.
Okay.
To do it together.
Just
and then
to see how it's going to work out. And absolutely, which is very important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then through that, I learned to do a lot of stuff. Okay. And initially they were like, oh, I want to own this now. I want to take it to the next level by myself. I'm happy to go ahead without you now.
Okay.
Which was like to me, oh, that's a setback. I thought we're gonna get ahead, I had a vision. So that was a wake-up call for me. I was thinking of more like I did speak to God. I wanted Dream to have a travel company, but I didn't know where to start. So they've given me that person to learn how to start, and then I can continue from then on. So God gives you different people at different points in your life to assist
through.
you. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Wow. I think that even said that better. I think that really, really, really sets us. And I mean, I'll add this as a last thing to say as well. When you're doing all the mundane, what people might consider thankless tasks, you're working and it seems like you're working tirelessly. Sometimes you may not even see the results that you want to see. Sometimes it might feel like things are slow growth. I feel like you're preparing yourself for an opportunity, because what will happen is like, even this is like the stage is set, right? Everything that you've been doing with your work as well.
Yeah.
So when that one big opportunity comes along, you're ready for it because of all the work that's culminated. So
ready.
You understand you're ready. But if that came before you've done even the thing that you've said, before you've been through the hardships and everything else, you won't know how to handle it.
Exactly.
You will have absolutely no clue, or rather the opportunity you might miss the opportunity because you haven't put towards the work.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example. There's some kids that do a podcast called they call the podcast 90s Baby Show. So you might have seen them or you might not have seen them. And they've been doing it for a while. They've been doing it for 7 years, and they normally have different guests and things like that. And they do a great job. I watch what they do.
Yeah.
Guess who they had on a couple of weeks ago on their podcast?
Yeah.
Diamond Platinum.
No way.
They had Diamond
I need to check that one in
on their podcast
show.
in the UK.
Oh,
They're just kids. They do a podcast like me, the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And they had Diamond Platinums on there. But then I was like, it's very well deserved.
Yes.
Because they've been they're one of the most consistent people. As every week they produce a show. They're there. They're going. And they're another clique where I'm like, their opportunity, I know they've already had some opportunities and things like that. They do live shows and things like that.
Yeah.
But their break is coming.
It's
and
coming.
it will seem like it will come overnight because of all that work that you're putting in. It's like, when you're digging a well, you dig it before you get to the water. And then when the water comes, it's like, boom.
Yes.
It's the same thing as gold. You dig until bam, when you get to the gold, it looks like you've just done it overnight, but it's because of all the work that you've been
people see the iceberg, but they actually don't know what the work
is.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I put out, and we'll be bringing it to a close because I know we've been going at it for a while.
One more thing, sorry. So many things today, Chad. We're not going to finish today.
Go ahead.
I think there is, I don't know if they were based in London or not, but I also have seen similarly a woman called Tony Tont.
Okay.
She's on Instagram as well. Similar, she's been doing it for a while and now she's blown up. She's got a book that she's selling. She's got causes. She's called for awards.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But again, we are up north. We are based in Sheffield and things like that. So the community is not as grand as London. It'll be nice sometimes to get a few guys from London or ourselves go down to London, to bridge that gap and be together with the similar like-minded people to grow. Because I think that atmosphere generates more creativity.
Absolutely, it does. London and the world as well. Sometimes even just the Black community in general. But what you've said that is so important, and I've realized that the majority, even the bigger names and the bigger people, are all the way that way in London.
Exactly.
But that's the thing that I'm not only praying for, but hoping to say that when the time comes and we have our home, perhaps the headquarters will be in London.
Exactly.
Where we actually have a proper spot and everything else, and the lights will be more elaborate and things like that. And I can see it, and God is going to provide. And another thing that I was going to add is to say, even the people that I'll sit down with, I can see myself sitting down with some heads of state. I can see myself sitting down with top entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. I'm calling it in. Some people that have made real big differences in other people's lives, and where I feel like their stories are inspired, I would like for them to come through on this platform, to sit down and to be able to share their stories from a gritty place, right? Where we dig into some of the things that perhaps they might not necessarily speak about on other platforms. And I pride myself on allowing it to happen and not being too formal, too structured, where most people will have a structure because it's important for them to do that. But I want, or rather, this platform has this thing where it's like you could just be yourself, even more so than on other platforms. And whatever we put out to the people is what we give them. So we do this for the people. We're not doing this particularly for numbers or for whatever, or for clout. We're doing it for the people that need it the most, where they can hear it, they can pick something up, and it enriches their life in one way or another. That's my mission, really, to be honest with you. If I can do that, and I said, even if it's one or two people who it inspires,
you've done the job done. Yeah, you have. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of round it up. But before we get to round it, because I want this conversation to end, because it's been so great, it's been so inspired. I'm definitely going to have you back on, Zena, for us to discuss perhaps a different subject or something that you might have going on. I think I've said it to a couple of other guests as well, to say that this is the kind of podcast where I love products, I love technology, I love things that are going on, especially when they have a powerful and inspired story. So if there's something going on that you have that you want us to discuss, just let me know. And then what we'll do is we'll really break it down or discuss it, or perhaps, tell people why they should have or they should use a service and that sort of thing. So we'll definitely be sitting down again at some other point. But for yourself, was there anything you'd like to add before we kind of draw it to a close and that sort of thing?
No.
Because I wouldn't want to leave you with the thought, I didn't add that thought,
I think,
right?
Yeah, no, perfect. I think I've covered everything. I'm grateful. And just go through my websites and go through your holiday abroad, or just give it to someone who can word of mouth.
That's
more than enough
thing
for me. I
was gonna say, like, which are your socials? So there's Zena-Belle.com, and then there's your Insta.
My Insta, Zena-Belle, and also you can find it on Facebook.
Okay.
Are
you also, you're on Facebook? Are you on YouTube yet?
No, not yet, but we are coming. So
I'll help you.
It's something
with
that we are.
YouTube,
I need to get into grips with it, but
there you go.
I'm hoping to start YouTube soon.
Brilliant. No, guys, another great conversation, another inspired one. As I said, we do what we do here. Same thing that I do all the time. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Click that little bell there so it notifies you every time I release some content and that sort of thing. There are more amazing conversations to come. I have been working so hard in the background. Me and Zen are talking about work like a mad person, a robot, like just reaching out to people that I feel like are amazing, that can really come and add value to the platform, just as Zena has done, and be having these conversations with them in the weeks, in the days to follow, different people from different guys. It's going to be lit up in here, right? So, and I'm going to continue having these conversations. I'm going to continue hearing these stories because I just love stories and I love people that are making a difference in the world and that sort of thing. And that's why I do it. So if I'm doing that, it actually makes me happy. Zena, you've come today. You have delivered. You have inspired me personally, right? With everything that you're doing, I feel like I've known you for a long time, but I genuinely feel like today I've seen and I've heard a different side to it. Like, who is this young lady? Oh, now it's all making sense with everything that you're doing, because you're such a humble, down-to-earth person and that sort of thing. When you talk, you speak with such conviction and such passion. As I said, I will be supportive in the work that you do.
Thank you.
And I just pray that God continues to grace your life, continues just to give you this drive that you have, and you continue to make this difference in people's life in general and in women's life in general, because I feel like that's what God has really called you to do. And perhaps this actually finds somebody that needs to hear it and that sort of thing. They reach out to you in a way that will benefit them and will help them, or it will inspire someone out there, most definitely. But guys, once again, another episode of Let Inspiration Take Over podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
See you later.